assume various roles. So basically, we don't have many challenges in them. Of course, we have learned for example, I found a gap when we finished. And hey everyone, come up. Let's like say, welcome back from the campaigns. I think this is also missing from all parties. So we felt neglected. Yes, like we felt we are alone at that time. Like that is the most challenging, and like we haven't gotten activities. And like what are other barriers that women are facing, not like in the party alone, but in general?
Race, but they will do actions that limit you to go for the race. For example, I had a female councillor who went to pick up nomination forms, and the husband too went for the same position. Yes, so it was a challenge. I went to them, like the woman had great potential more than the man, and like we negotiated, and the man finally agreed. And this woman was elected to this position. Yeah, so that is a challenge. The other challenge I faced was, as my sisters say, we are looked at as sex objects during the campaign. Here comes this rich guy. Sorry to say, he was from NRM. He was fighting the woman member of the flag bearer for NRM, and wanted to use me as a vessel to fight this other woman. If I didn't have values, I was finished. He had a lot of money. He had maybe he was spying me. He knew where I stayed. He knew everything. Wherever I went, he knew. Then he calls me at Collins and says, Sarah, we see you are the best candidate to do this. This woman, A, B, C, D, E. And I said, I am not that type. Politics should not be used as a battleground for women. Like when we go in there, we always fight each other. There is life after politics. And there is a name to defend. So let us not be used in any way. Yeah, the other thing we can talk about is empowering the women. Like they say, women in councils do not know how to move the women agenda. They just say, I'm seconding this. But are they empowered? Like in my organization, we do empower women, like in leadership. What is our challenge in there? It is the power and power dynamics. If we know that we have power with, then how do I fight you even in the council? If we are all pushing forward the women agenda, why could I join the men instead of the fellow women? It is so sad that when women come up with these elective positions, and we are very many in the areas, and we cannot back our fellow women. And like the men take it all the time. It is very, very sad. We need to mobilize these women. We need to empower them, like even communication in councils. Most of the women, like the wave which we had during the last elections, women are there who cannot even say a word. I wasn't around, and it was so sad. There is this woman member of parliament, she's from where I even don't know, Masaka. The video went forward, and even women reposted such videos. What have you done to support her? Because she is there currently. What are we doing? We are just pulling her down. Go to her, tell her, go and enroll for evening courses and upgrade on your English. Because she's not going to go out. She has the position, stand with her. But it was so sad that groups were reposting. Even women, even like what? We should be there for each other. Yes, you shared, you see? It was bad. And whatever group like I was in, I said, this is wrong. This is our fellow woman. Just go to her and say, here I can give you support. You know how like this, is it, not the Prime Minister, it is the Deputy Speaker. How the Deputy Speaker managed her on the floor was really good, and he was a man. But the fellow women were actually laughing and like whispering. This is not good. We should stand up for each other. Then like the low self-esteem amongst the women all over. Yes, if one brings up something, they just shy away. Even they like to say, I second this. They don't have what to say. Their self-esteem is still low. How do you rise it up? Like through our parties, let us empower these women. I know I am very lucky to be in ANT, and I believe in ANT that when ANT comes in power, it is the only government with a change we will trust. What do we do in ANT? We lift each other. We do lift each other in whatever way. ANT is the only party throughout the nomination process that didn't ask for money if you are an aspirant to be a flag bearer. But do you know what happens with other parties? ANT is the only party that didn't request for money to become a flag bearer. I know parties that paid a lot of money to become one. Most parties is technical know-who. And what do you give in as a woman to be shortlisted for this? Yes, but I give credit to ANT and the leadership of ANT for that. I joined ANT and I wasn't asked for a penny. Even DP, bravo if it happened. But I know nope, it was money and technical know-who.
Madam Sarah, before we get a rowdy audience at this point, I would want to stop you right there.
Thank you.
As you can see, guys, there's been wonderful submissions from the able ladies at this panel. But I also want to ask you, Madam Sarah, and this is like a direct question for you as a member of the Youth League in the ANT. And this goes for all of us, the panelists. Madam Maxensia here has taken us through the journey of the changing of the constitution to factor in women issues. In the ANT constitution, is there in the ANT constitution, is there a part where we talk about women issues specifically? Do we have a budget for the women as ANT? I know I come from a struggling party. I know I've just got an MP. I know what it means to be out of parliament and be a political party. I know the struggles, but I still want to ask, do we have a budget in the constitution that is stipulated strictly for the women, and even for the women? Because when we talk about women, we usually talk about the older women. But the young women, usually when we talk about young women, we push them in the Youth League. The young women in ANT, do we have conversations that tackle their issues? Because like it or not, we are two different generations, the older women and the young women. And there's going to be challenges at every level. And my challenges might not be the same challenges Madam Maxensia faced when she was my age. So I want to ask specifically for ANT, do you have a budget? Do you have a policy? Do you have some of our parties don't even have sexual harassment policies or even disciplinary conversations about women and things that matter about women.
Wow, thank you so much. As ANT, we have like the parent constitution.
Yes.
And as the Women League, it is a new party. We were still working on the documents. Of course, from the parent constitution, we have like the women budget and everything. So we were still designing something with, yes, our sister Kakai and others, and the head of the Women League, Madam Ambassador. We were coming up with a document that will like aid the women programs, the budget, and everything. But when we use the parent one, it is catered for. We have designed programs, we have various budgets. We are just limited by funding.
All right,
Yes.
I'll go straight to Madam Maxence here. Now that you advocated for women to be included in the DP constitution, and I have also heard often, time without number, when the DP women speak, they say they are the only party that have a stipulated amount that goes to them as a league in the party. Is it a conversation of having the stipulated amount, or does the money really go to the functionality of the youth, of the Women League of the Democratic Party?
Thank you so much. Is there a stipulated amount? And that stipulated amount goes with the policy. You are here as youth. I should begin from there. From the presentation, the research Perry presented to us, she mentioned that they did not find any youth policy in the parties when they're doing. If I heard that well, in that gender policy. So we can have, yes, we have budgets, we have pushed. I'm proud of the Youth League and Women's League. I'm proud of that. But it's like all these laws in Parliament, which are shelved. Talk about the Domestic Violence Prevention Act. I was part of this, and I said of it. It was passed a long time ago. Where is it? The challenge, yes, their budgets, their voices, we have raised our voices. And these young women have been everywhere, made documents. The problem is implementation.
Thank you,
You know, until we have these policies and the policies are respected, sometimes youth and women leads in political parties are taken as nigina. Those social forums where abakazi mutandise byabakazi, until we are guided by these policies, until the policies are supported, until the policies are implemented, it's like nothing.
Madam Maxi, you've said it very well, said it as it is. Because usually when I have conversations with the young people, those of Evelyn, those of Helen, they always throw it in my face to let me know that they have a budget. 40% goes to the women. Now they are telling us that you have 40% written but not given. Anyway, going back to Madam Sarah. Definitely. Going back to Madam Sarah. NRM is the mighty party, like they say. How come we have a youth league that does not have women when we have strong ladies like Carol? We have vibrant women outside here. What happened? How did it happen that nobody even saw the importance of being part of the executive of the NRM Youth League? Please take us through this process.
What I remember, as I told you earlier, by the time we were having that league, it's when I was contesting for National Female Youth Member of Parliament. And I think as females, we missed a point. I will not blame the males. Even us failing to pick the nomination forms, it means we missed a point. But I remember we were 12 candidates in the position of National Female Youth MP. So meaning all of us, all our eyes were on MPship, not looking at taking up these neck positions. You get it? And that's why I think it is really good for us to have such engagements, and you easily identify where we're having a gap. You identify the loopholes. I remember it came later, we thought about it later. Said, but how? We don't even have a female at the National Youth League. And then when I tried to raise it, but then they asked, how many of you expressed interest? There was no one. And I remember, because I remember even we thought of engaging lawyers, but they said, if you didn't express interest, then we can't push too far. But this is an eye-opener. It became an eye-opener. In that, as now for us who have been in National Youth Council, who have been in the NRM politics for some time, we need to also think of how do we identify young female people and make sure that we support them to take up such positions. In that, if they are not voted, it's when now we bring in the 40%. That no, our constitution is talking about the 40%, we cannot allow this. So it is an eye-opener for us to be sincere.
Okay. Still, I want to begin with you before you put down the microphone, talking about being an eye-opener. Usually, there is a conversation that has bothered the young people of this country. And I think basically that's the reason why people would quickly opt for MPship or youth council other than the youth league. Do you really think the youth league of the NRM is effective besides being women, but as young people? Because we have to also talk about the participation of young people, women or male. Now, do you really think the youth league of the NRM party is effective and delivering for the young people of the NRM?
Thank you. As we talk now, I will not say it is effective as it should be. But the reason is we are not thinking outside the box. As Mama has said it, when she was there, it's when she thought of what impact can I create when I'm here. But when she was there, I think she was having it in mind, but she could not think of how to implement it. So, but I purely feel that our leaders there are also not innovative. I don't know whether it is because we are missing a female there. It's just about meetings and getting my allowance. Meetings and then getting my allowance. But when you look at, it's not that NRM has failed to finance these leagues. No. It's just that our leadership has not tried to think outside the box for them to get this funding for the youth leagues.
All right, thank you, Madam Julian. I go straight to Madam Sarah. A lot has been said, but also, as Shalom Development Network, have you had a conversation of the women or the young people in ANT to probably develop their capacity, like you said? Because in most cases, when we say self-esteem, charity begins at home. That's what they say. Have you had a conversation with the young people in ANT or the women in ANT about esteem and all of those issues?
Thank you so much. We have various platforms where we do exchange knowledge and ideas. Like, I didn't know how to use Twitter. Yes, even after elections I didn't. But we have groups that do empower us to use various social medias. We discuss various topics because at times it could be hard to come together as a whole because it is costly and as we know. So, but we use these platforms to do so. Then secondly, the youths have had like activities, yes, that have helped like to empower them. Then these ones that like went through in various positions, went through thorough training from communication, how do you dress up, how do you present yourself, power and power dynamics, and everything. How do you move motions in councils and everything. That is done perfectly well. I think we have moved, like, we are still moving forward. Of course, there are various loopholes because we have ever planned to have activities like regional and but we are limited by funding, and also there is a tendency of like slowlessness. As she said, bino byabachala. So like at times activities are very slow. Of course, due to money, but also like failure, like to push harder. Yeah.
All right. Lastly, before we open up the gallery, because I have seen a lot of burning questions, I want to hear from Madam Maxi. If today chance is given to you to speak about the young Democrats, more so the female young Democrats. Can you proudly say that I have done a good job as a mentor? Incidentally, you're also my mentor in the Awili because you are an alumni of the Awili program. Would you proudly say that we have done a good job? Because here I am putting you to task with the president herself. Can you proudly say we have done a good job as female leaders that are pushing the mantle to the young women?
That is a very interesting question. I don't know why my president is clapping. Because it is I think it is a testimony. When I lost the election in 2015, I got sick and bedridden, but I kept pushing. I kept pushing and I told Aisha, you are the next president. And I have to say it here and I said it then. Everybody was like, no, it can't be. You are Catholic. This is a Muslim. I said, she is. And I told her, until I get you there, I will not rest. She mentioned, Honorable Sarah mentioned, I mentored her. I beat her from university with Perry, 2011. We started the journey. I moved to Gulu to push women to get elected into these positions. I have done my part. She's the president, she's the vice president. What can I say about the young girls? In DP, there is nothing that has pushed and moved like UID. Please stand up for recognition. Be it a female, be it fundraising. Look at the great presidents that we have won over times when you have not been winning. It has been these young people. It has been their money. We come in late to Sebanange and give them when they have mobilized and they have formed forums and they are pushing and they are sending messages and they are into the universities, sleeping there and campaigning until we win or we lose. And by the way, if you ask me about the challenges, they have become a very big problem. KIC, WDN, and other organizations, you have brought problems to our parties. Now men are like, they are going to take our seats. That is the reality. They're like, they're going to take our seats. This is why they think they should sit on those committees when we are organizing a fundraising. Of course, Sarah does it better. I think those Evelyn Chigongo can do that. And when it comes to those mainstream positions, we have a such. So this is a very big challenge that is coming to think these men-oriented positions. Men should be managers, men should be presidents, men should be this. And then women, so this is another challenge. I want to talk about a few things. That is a challenge, but don't give up. I'm here, whether in this wheelchair, I'll push on with you and we shall get there. So, these gender-specific challenges. I was viewing in Honorable Nyanjura, the Deputy Lieutenant Mayor, when she's interviewed by Honorable Moding, and then what she's talking about. Auntie Tolina Musaj, Yolina Habana, I mean, those things. And for us, we stand and challenge them. And my girls here, I'm sorry to call you girls, honorable members, and they are like, no, they stand out and say no to these sexual harassment things, and then to these advances, sexual advances, even money. I always just kind of tickle them and say, and they're like, Mom, we have had enough challenges with these men. We are not going to go into these challenges. So me, I'm a proud mother, but the journey is not done. It is not done until it is done. We are going to fight over until we reach where we want to be.
The mantle has been handed over to you, the young women of DP, that where Madame Maxensia stopped, you should create others so that the trail goes on. It was a wonderful discussion, but now we are opening up the gallery. Are there any questions for our panelists? Oh, Madame, I think she will be helping us to move around the microphone. And before we open up the gallery, I think Madam Julian wanted to say something before we open up the gallery. In a few seconds, because questions have been burning, the moment I said let's open up the gallery, Zerida's hand was up. So, my friend,
just
very few.
In 30 seconds, there is an issue that I left out that is failing our young women to participate in politics, especially in my party. We don't have that money that the men have. So you find for you to get this position, remember you must move the whole country to ask for votes. By the time you reach Nambole, if you didn't have the money, then it is hard for you to penetrate. I remember when I was looking for the vote of National Female Youth MP, I met the youth of Kampala. In fact, they were seated together, Kampala and Wakiso. They told me, for us, we know that you want a vote. Just put there your posters and your money and go. The issue is, we know you want the vote. We've seen your face, put your posters and the money. But we shall tell you, the highest bidder takes our vote. So what I did was just to walk away, because I knew even if I put my 100K, it was not going to do anything. But it is really about, let us also look for ways of making some little money in that we can be able to counteract these other forces.
So we open up the gallery now. I think I have seen Zerida's hand up. Madam Aisha's hand is up. I think I'll pick Zerida, Madam Aisha, Mama Pakwachi, then Sarah, Mama Zombo. And there's a young lady in white right there in that. And then lastly, Helen.
Thank you so much, Madam Lynette and our mighty panel. I want first of all appreciate the content that we have gotten here. My question is, I think it will go direct to who said we are not united, we fight ourselves. I think it was the RDC, yes. Now the question is, what triggers that? And as one of the victims of disunity, what do you think we as young women should do to push our agenda? Then secondly, this would just be as an observation. There is a tendency of us gluing to the youth league and to the women's league, as in being comfortable in the leagues. But I think it is high time we now started thinking of taking on senior party positions. Because it will be so easy for us who are already oriented, for example, by Piper, by KIC, Perry, and our mentor, Madam Max, to move into influential positions which can change the narrative. Because right now, my fear is this report is very good, and I think I even mentioned it in the morning. My fear is there political will to implement these good policies that we are bringing up? Because I believe every political party would harness in the energies and expertise of young people for motion. There is no party that can move if the young people are not active. Because my Honorable Maxensia cannot go to Chenjojo, Hoima, but she can be at the policy level. So it is upon us, I think we should now start thinking, how do we take on the mainstream positions for us to influence things and change things in our country? Thank you.
I thank you very much. Thank you so very much, our panelists and our moderator. You're super good. My name is Aisha Waligo, the president of the Democratic Party Women's League, and I'm super excited to have this microphone. My key observations are these, but essentially, directing my first observation to Madam RDC. Sometimes there are issues that spoil my mood, especially when it comes to the young women in political parties. I'm very excited to feel that Democratic Party is championing out the Inter-Party Women's Platform, where we expect all women leaders across all divide to come and we talk together. And issues we must talk about are issues how we see our young women being part of the leadership of political parties. This is a message I'm sending to all political parties which are here. We cannot do anything as women without a common voice. And we cannot do anything. And for the young women, don't be belittled by us older women if we do not want to give you capacity. It is really very bad for a mass party, and I don't have a young woman at the National Executive Committee. That is a point I'm taking up. In as much as I'm DP, I'm for the women and the young women. We are putting up on that. Secondly, how could it happen? How couldn't you have interest? Because really it brought me a little down telling me women never had interest. I must tell you, for us in EDP, it is strategically done. Those young women you're seeing there, they could be young women. But as we are going for the delegates conference in Igulu, they went and knelt it down before the current Deputy Secretary General, who is a lady whom they wanted to be at the policy-making table. I can tell you an experience, Mami Maxensia is aware. We were in a certain strategic meeting. We wanted to engender the constitution. We were only 3 women against 9 men, and they were not willing. We told them, no, we are not continuing anything in this constitution till when his comes with her. Man comes with woman. And that is where we stopped. Political parties and women in political parties. You must understand how patriarchy mutates. Today it comes in this shape, another day in this shape. But these things are for you young women. Don't allow those policies, those documents which do not favor our participation. I thank you so much, Mami Maxensia, who are putting up the fight. Again, another one. Dear ladies, when I saw my Honorable RDC introducing herself as NRM, some of you like you were not happy. Why? We must be cheerleaders of ourselves. No one is going to cheer us. No matter where a woman is, provided we can get services as women. For us, we will always cheer. Whether you are NRM, be there and serve us. Whether you aren't, be there and serve us. Let us cheer our fellow women. Let us amplify their energies. Rather than like they are here. What's wrong with NRM? Be. Let her be. Cheer her from there. Appreciate what she's doing there. Because at the end of the day, it is not about the political parties who are presenting. It is about the agenda we put for women on the table. That is very critical. Anytime, ladies, let us cheer out our own, because there is nothing for us without us. That is very critical. Then finally, as I'm winding up, there is something I'd noted here. All engagements we have done. The biggest challenge coming out is finances. And someone among the panelists put it categorically, women, young women have something to do. What can they do? What is it that you want them to do? They don't have jobs. Some of them have finished school. Others do not have the capital. And this one goes to civil society. Because we believe this government cannot work in isolation of you. You've come out, you've given us a lot of work, a lot of empowerment. But every time you talk about economic empowerment, you don't talk about the cons and pros. How can they do it? I think it's high time civil society organizations, as you pledged to lifting us up, you started having programs for economic empowerment, injecting in real money for these young women to work, for these young women to have capital. And you do the monitoring to ensure. Otherwise, the moment we keep on saying, please go and do something, that is why they will end up in the hands of sexual harassment, because it's not there. But within political parties, again, as women leagues, as women leaders, it's our noble role to bring these women together and understand what they can do and how best we can support them. So the economic empowerment part becomes very critical. And finally, young women, make yourself available for mentorship. The moment you're not available, because they are not giving you transport refund, you will not come, you will be there. Because some tables where we're supposed to be, they require some kind of integrity and understanding of certain issues. Be blessed.
Mama Pakwachi. Mama Pakwachi is next, then you. Mama Zombo next, then we will. There's a lady in white, and then Helen, Joyce, and the lady in blue. You will be the last one because we are playing in the lunch time, and it's not okay for people not to eat, because when you do not eat, we will have very, very gloomy people.
Protocol
The lady
observed.
in the white coat will be the last one.
Protocol observed. I'm commonly known as Mama Pakwach, but my name is Awekoni Mungu Prescovia, former aspirant Pakwach woman MP from the FDC. DP wants me to fall in love. These ladies are amazing, but I'm not. Thank you. But we'll work together. I always start a statement. Okay, let me refer to this. When we're having our first session, we went, I know the Piper team will bear with us. Nope, DP, what, mighty power, and we were like, the energy was big. So we were failing to unite. Piper 2022, you can tell. I reached where I made a statement, and I'm like, I come from Pakwach. When I'm going to Pakwach, I'm going to pass on a rough road in the park, the potholes and everything. Adong from DP is using the same route. This from PPP is using the same route. The pain is getting is the pain I get. Unless we look beyond our political parties, we will never achieve anything. And when I made that statement, in the second session, Mr. Kakumo told me, Prescovia, this sank deep. I like the second session. So, and that's what I'm going to say now. I'm a woman. I'm going to start with my sister from Aunt. When you talked about like some political parties that took in bribe and everything. The question here is, when you realize that, what did you do to help the victims? How did you influence that? What impact did you make? Because it carries no weight you saying, FDC did this. What did you do about it? Or else, what do you intend to do to make it go down? It's very important. Madam RDC, I always told you I look beyond political parties. I'll give my vote in a green coat as long as it has integrity. I'll do the same in a yellow one as long as they are not going to betray us. From the time I've been interacting with you, you stand for the cause. I would really want one day have a talk show on Pakwach FM, and I can invite you. Non-partisan, non-everything. With your capacity, in your capacity. How about exploring your heights beyond just the Bunyoro sub-region? How about extending a hand beyond the Bunyoro sub-region? How about looking at any other party and working with them beyond NRM? You said you stand for the woman. You stand for the women. I need you to explore your heights. I need you to expand your boundaries. I need you to touch the girl child. Madam Max, this is my second interaction with you. She's such an amazing woman. I know beyond that already. She's a woman that is very tempting and daring. She talked about unity. She has done a lot of great things, but I also want to pose this to you, Mama. You know, when you talk about a woman bringing another woman down, it is true, there's no doubt about that. I can do it, she can do it. I'm going to make an example. Somebody told me, I just don't like the way you dress, so casual. But I'm like, I'm wholesale. You want me to be in fitting? I don't feel comfortable. I'm okay this way, something that makes me free. They are entitled to their rights. But another person like, why do you accept to be abused? I'm not offended. Because I accepted that idea. In other words, I'm trying to mean, like, these women we are trying to bring down, or these women that are trying to bring us down, the other way around. At times we are not open to their opinions. Because I can see something is wrong with Helen, and I want to tell Helen. Helen doesn't want to know. What am I going to do about it? How will I help Helen? Helen will see me messed up. Instead of talking to me, she's going to talk to the other. They both don't want to tell me. And maybe I'm also resistant. How are we going to help that? I think we should work on it the other way around as well. Those in position of authority should also allow the nobody to talk to them. It matters. When I was for campaign, I was served by people who are drunkards. These funny ones, they tell you to go and take mallows. When I have an ambush somewhere they will tell you, Mama Pakwachi, don't cross me. They were calling me either baby MP or Mama Pakwachi because I was in my 20s and the youngest and everything. So baby or Mama Pakwachi. Mama Pakwachi came because I had a valid manifesto, best of the best. And they branded me Mama. So this drunkard who tells you don't cross the bridge is valid. Let the women in position of authority accept to be helped. They don't know it all. As much as you want to nurture us, ask for our opinion. I don't want to talk much. I beg to take my leave. Thank you.
And on that note, going forward, the next speakers, please take 2 minutes, as little time as possible, because we are very many and the panelists need to reply to these questions. So 2 minutes for the next speakers. Thank you.
So unfortunate. When it has reached me, it is 2 minutes. But I am the Vice President of the Women's League. I am going to try to be brief. Don't worry. I need some observation to make here. Madam Maxensia, thank you so much for nurturing so many of us. I must make a testimony that Sarah Adong, I didn't know much politics. And she picked me from nowhere in my first year. And that is how I started to know politics. And when you posed the question to her, are you proud that you've nurtured some UIDs, female UIDs? Yes, she has nurtured so many of us you see here. Now, Madam Zerida, who is, sorry, not Zerida, our moderator, we have right now risen from 4 members of the Women's League we had initially during her regime to 14 women right now on NEC. People, please clap. Don't be mean with your hand clap. Because it is not easy to rise from 4 women to 14 women. It is not easy. And it was an initiative that we sat down as young women and together with the elderly women. Now, it brings me to this point, Madam Moderator. The women who are young and young people at large think they can work in isolation with the older people. It does not work that way, ladies and gentlemen. These 2 generations below the age of 35 years and above the age of 35 need to work together to exist, to see us move forward. And that is what we adopted in Democratic Party. I wanted to bring that to your attention. A challenge that we have right now, the issue of policy implementation is not just a policy, it's not just a challenge at a Democratic Party or NRM or what. It's a national issue, even the country itself right now. For instance, we have the 40% policy of finances. It's supposed to be given to the Women's League. 40% is supposed to be given to the Youth League. This money only comes at a time when there is money. And if there is no money, you don't have the 40%. But if the money is there, we hustle so hard to fight for it. And me and my president, Madam Aisha, together with the VP Youth League and her colleagues, we are always at the forefront to fight. That we have tried, but the issue of implementation is still a very general problem. Now, I want to pose a question to our RDC, Sarah, my namesake. You talked about the challenge of women of NRM not taking interest of wanting to take up some of these big seats. my question is it okay if as women of other political parties, if we join hands and make a caucus, probably go and talk to your leaders of NRM, the top-notch leaders of NRM, to allow you and the women of NRM take up some of these big seats? Is it okay? And if it is okay, depending on your answer, we can start from here. And then lastly,
Madam Sarah, I'm going to cut you short.
I'm finishing this only, just a second. Sorry, please, because I felt the rest spoke well.
No.
Class discrimination and categorization of women is killing us women. You go to a forum, before even somebody knows you, there's already that class discrimination and categorization of women. This needs to be stopped. And I don't know how you people are going to do this, but Madam Maxine said you can advise us how can this vice be fought. Thank you so much.
For the next speakers, strictly 2 minutes. I'm actually reducing 1 minute and a half. No, it was the other lady at the back. How? I don't know her name. Wait.
But I think I can now use my 3 or 2 seconds.
One and a
I'm
half.
about to use a minute. My submission came. I drew it from the submission from the lady from Ant. Yes, when she talked about the woman MP from Masaka. Yes, sometimes women, I feel like it's not about putting somebody down. That's why I told her proudly, I'm among the people that shared that video, even to my President General, because he didn't have it. And I can say maybe it was bad. I am sorry for that. But then, women, let's always strive to make ourselves better. Every other time that you have space, show up and utilize it. We do not, okay, it is to our surprise that some of those people in some of those positions, when they do some of these mistakes, we feel like that is not the best that we can have for a parliament of Uganda, because you have time to even rehearse. I do not think that she came up with that statement that very morning. She had developed it. Take your time. If you know you're going to present somewhere, read and have something that you're going to present, because you're a woman and you know, as a matter of fact, you're representing the many. When you go there and you do the worst, then you're throwing a stone and you're creating bias for even other women. So if you have that space, I know that you're going to present something, please, please and please, do your best so that you can always have it. I wanted to break the issue of saying that maybe like forwarding that video or even commenting bad about it as women, we are putting someone down. No, that is not the issue. The issue is that we are trying to even communicate to others that we can do better than that. Show up, utilize the spaces if they are there, and always make sure you're doing yourself a service and making sure you're becoming better every other time. Utilize the spaces. Thank you so much.
The lady in white, then we have Joyce, then the lady in blue, the lady in white, and the lady in white coat. Sham, that's her right name. Sham will be the last, and we will just go straight to answering and lunch. Food is important.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Margaret Natari. She says she didn't know me. Yeah, I'm very new in these things of politics. I just joined in my Form 6 vacation. Thank you, thank you. So the very first time we came together, KIC brought us together as young entrants in politics. I was this person who couldn't stand up before people and speak for myself, but after interaction, I actually got improved. So thank you, KIC, for that. When I heard Madam, I don't want to mispronounce the name, Madam Maxence, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, when she was saying, I met at so-and-so, 2011, I remember 2011 I was in P5, so I wasn't. My issue, I need some help, any of the people on the panel. One day, I was seated on a panel of nine men, and I was the only female. And then I raised an issue, why are there very few females in our party? NUP is my party, you understand? So, I was told, I think we should create a position for women representative. so that we can bring in more ladies. These people boldly told me, we are tired of those women issues. If you want us to add a women representative, this is a university student. He told me, maybe if we add also a men representative. I've never heard of such a thing. He told me, if you actually can't sit here without that position, you can move out. We can do without women. So my issue is, how have you ever met such people in this journey, and how have you been able to work with such people? Because I was so frustrated and I moved out. I left them. Yes, and my last issue is, you know, I'm a female youth councillor of Mukono municipality. But then you stand before people, these are mature people, and they see you as a young girl. You bring something that is going to help us all, and people disrespect you because of your age. So what advice can you give me about that issue? Thank you.
The lady in Joyce, then the lady in blue.
Thank you very much, Lynette, for moderating the show. It has been excellent. And all the panelists, I highly appreciate all the message that you have given us and the direction that you've taken this discussion. So I will try my best to be as brief as possible. The main issue that I want to bring out is, as women who are struggling or pushing our agenda forward to get into these positions, what are we planning to do for the women whom we want to represent? Because there has been a very big challenge when it comes to that yes, we push ourselves and reach somewhere where we get positions, but when we get there, we get confused. I think sometimes a woman ends up into a certain position, but without knowing what exactly they are supposed to do for the women. So do we have a guidance that when we are in these trainings, we are training women to go and struggle for positions, but what are we training them to go and do when they get to those positions? That is very important. Then the second one is, we talked about this unity and how we need unity. And we've been having what we call the Inter-Party Women's League. What has happened to the Inter-Party Women's League? Why isn't it helping us unite and know each other in terms of knowing what is in which party? Madam Sarah from the ANT said ANT was the only party that didn't ask women for money during nominations. But if candidates during the cards and so on, flags. However, it so happened that all the other political parties, except maybe the NUP, had also had the same experience. So if we had been interacting in the Inter-Party Women League and understanding what is lacking, we would help each other. The positive things from DP transfers to FDC or any other party that is lacking, and then so that we help each other resolve these negatives in all our political parties. And lastly, there is still on unity, there is something that disunites us sometimes. And as women, there are things that we go through. But I want to put this question to Madam Sarah, the RDC. One of the things that has been affecting us as women, most especially from the opposition side, is violence against women. When we stand up to, yes, I'm summarizing. When we stand up to speak about things that are affecting even women themselves, we end up getting tortured and so on. And in most cases, the people who spearhead these operations are RDCs. How are you using your position differently in regards to handling women during such events? Because I think that is also important to show us that as a woman, you're really concerned, and in your duty, you're not violating the rights of women. Thank you.
The lady in blue at the back.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm Tumuhirwe Naume, Chira Municipality, FDC. Not only in blue, but FDC. Mine will go straight away to Madam RDC Akiki, that we as women, you should not go only in Chenjojo. You should look at Uganda as a whole. We should plan, in fact, we should start a campaign on how women should be in politics, should stand firm as like, me, I'm not an NRM, but Museveni said that women should be given a platform. And as you know very well, if women are given the platform, we women, we are next and men are the heads. When we are not there, when we are not standing, our country is going no more. Our country, that's why you are seeing the economy is down, just because women are undermined. So, Madam Akiki, I'm requesting you very much. However much, use your position very well. You are an RDC. I don't know how many RDCs are in Uganda, most especially women. Use your position so that we as women can be uplifted. Most especially if you can try to come to Chira, me, I will go with you. We do the sensitization. We move from up, we go deep down in Chira, such that we can be uplifted. Me, I stood up with 3 men. I won men. But I won men because I was brought up. The space was there empty. MP Semuju came to me, he said, now can't you stand up? I told him, I'm ready. He said, what do you mean? Don't you know numbers of Mukono? I was like, let me go. I won Noop, the one, the so-called Muyaga. I know I won NRM. So it means we lack to be sensitized. Women, we are more than conquerors. We are strong enough than even men of this world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The lady in white, in the white t-shirt, the lady in the white coat, and Shamida, lastly, and I think the Honorable MP has put her hand up, and Sharon from Noop has asked to defend her party. Those are the only 2 people I'll give extra opportunity. 1 minute, strictly 1 minute.
Oh, thank you very much. Don't count those seconds. I welcome everybody, and I'm so delighted to meet the new faces and the old faces. I really love everybody. The person speaking is Atai Caroline. I happened to, I contested in Mukono municipality as a woman councillor at the municipality level. Allow me stand up, you see me very well. One of the challenges that I faced, of which I call it minor, is the age. I contested when I was 24 years. And everybody was like, now you are 24 years, you are contesting with your mothers. No child, no husband, even a hairdresser, you are still staying with your parents. But for me, I was like, no, that is not, I mind less. Once I start, I conclude, or I finish. That one is a minor one. But now the main point is about the alliances. And I really need a way forward because I'm now looking at 2026. The challenge is the alliance that we made. I'm from the JIMA, that's Justice Forum. The alliance we made with our colleagues, that is the NOP. And I didn't want to use this word, but I'm forcefully going to say it. They really betrayed us. Because in the alliances, we are supposed probably where the NOP contestant is, you don't put there the one for JIMA. But when we started, we went for nominations, we are surprised. You contested, another person comes and says, among the things we talked about, we agreed on. So that was a very big challenge. Majority of the people were willing to vote for me, in fact, who voted for me. In fact, I managed to be number second among the mothers that I contested with. That was a very big challenge to us.
Thank you, thank you. Your 1 minute has elapsed, please.
Madam, the
because
other one wasted
everyone
my
wants to
seconds.
talk.
Another challenge,
I
please.
gave you seconds. You started introducing and meeting people.
The other one wasted my just 3 seconds. Thank you very much.
And I'm counting.
We have another challenge. That is now party individual versus the society. The society wants to vote you, but they are saying, you change the party, we shall give you. We shall vote for you. That is another challenge. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. 1 minute strictly, 1 minute.
Thank you very much. This is Daisy Fortunate from UPC. Congress lady. Yeah, I first appreciate Piper Casey for having unified us as women. Thank you very much, because we wouldn't be together, but the fact that these people have brought us together, that's why we are here. My concern is all about we women not being unifying, like not united. They have talked about it, but my concern is this should be a concern to every lady, that despite of the parties, we should be one. We should be one, we support each other, we empower each other, and then we stand and we be empowered. And another thing is going to the RDCs, the MPs who are women around. When you reach there up, don't forget the young ladies down, despite of the parties you are in. Always remember the young ladies and empower them. Tell them that they can and uplift them. So, and this will help us young ladies to at least stand, and our country will be strong, and we women, we shall also be strong.
Thank you very much.
I
Thank you
have a
very
question.
much.
This is a question.
No. I'm not taking the question. You would have started with a question. Sham. It is Sham next.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm Nabada Shami from Justice Forum. I will not speak much, but my first question goes to the RDC. Nalungo, did you take the initiative to encourage the girls and women to interest themselves in taking the positions of the youth executive as a fellow woman? Then my other question goes to Madam Max. I've been so motivated by what people here are saying about you. I've been so motivated. In fact, I'm in Rubaga North, but it's my first time to see you. So, but my question is one to you. I hear you speaking of the 40%, but it's not being implemented. I want to ask, and it as well goes to the youth league, the UYD of DP. Have you taken the initiative to have to give your youth league an account where they can save their own money that can help them in doing their day-to-day activities for the party? Then lastly, this is my last. It goes to comrade, the panelist from ANT. You spoke of the nomination fees, or leaving women out not to pay the nomination fees in ANT. But are you aware that it's this nomination fees that helps out in organizing that helps the party in organizing the elections in our parties? First of all, some of us only pay the membership fee as we are entering the parties. Then after that, we don't contribute any in our parties. So if at least you can give in this little for your nomination fee, I think it can add up to help your party run its activities.
Thank you very much, Sham. To the Honorable Joan and Sharon, last 1 minute. 1 minute, Honorable, 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Achoma Lobo Joan, Woman MP Sorority City. FDC party. Mine goes to the RDC. I don't know if she remembers harassing me badly in Kasese during the by-election. My question is, as women, we should stop being used to do the wrong things for the men to climb up. And when we do that, we shall have a steady move as a women movement. Otherwise, if we accept being used, because Alobo is in FDC, the NRM president has advised you do not allow her to say this and you turn her down, it doesn't help us in any way. And this goes to our funders, that we really still have a long journey to go on women in power to empower the young women who are not in power. Otherwise, I beg to submit. Mine goes to the RDC Chenjojo.
And Sharon, lastly, and then we'll go back to the panelists to answer. And also the panelists, it's going to be as brief as possible in the slightest words we can, because food, Madam Sarah here is yawning, food is important, and it's a best right they can arrest us.
Thank you so much. Mine is a concern. As much as we sit here and give all these brilliant ideas on how to help the women movement go forward, on how to fight for our spaces as women, it is a humble request to all the civil societies who are fighting and advocating for the rights of women. Can't we localize this? Because I'll give an example. As we were heading for the Women Council elections, you could approach a woman and tell her to come and stand as a LC1 chairperson. But you feel the urge and the need of this person participating in a meaningful participation as a leader, as low as a local leader in an office of a village, but they lack empowerment. So as we are looking at the capacity building, can we try so much and localize this? We move out of these buildings, go down as deep as in the villages. We try to empower our fellow women, because we may find even the so-called Nabachalas, they don't know their responsibility. They just find by default they are leaders, but they don't know what to do. So can we start from there?
Okay, I think we have had all the questions, and now to our panelists. I'll start with the RDC, who has got the most of the questions, Madam Maxensi and then Madam Sarah. As the Madam RC finishes to answer her questions, I beg she also gives us her final remarks, so that when she's done, we are done and we are ready to go for food.
Thank you so much, moderator. And allow me thank colleagues for the good questions and reactions, and allow me go through them straight away. I'll start from the first question that was posed by my sister from ANT, Zerida. What triggers the disunity in women or fighting each other? I would just also ask a question. For example, women, you find your man has dated some girl. What triggers you to go and fight that girl instead of fighting the man who has gone for her? Meaning that the society setup is in one way training us to fight each other. And what is triggering the disunity in women and not supporting each other is just the society setup and the mindset that no, women, we are competing against each other. That is how I would answer it. But we need to break the chain. We need to break the chain. 2, Mama DP asked about, did we lack the strategy by then? But what I want to inform you is, we had these elections in 2015, the election we are talking about. And some of us were new in the youth politics. So it's not that we lacked the strategy by then But I think we lacked information on some of these issues. And it is not that it is in all the other leagues of the party. No. But in the youth league, because I think we were lacking that information, and it really happened. It's not that we are lacking the strategy, no, we are lacking the information. And some of us, we just went into the other position for MPship, and we forgot that we had these other important positions. The issue of economic empowerment, I totally agree with you. We need to take further steps. We need to take further steps in not just looking at this other empowerment, but we also see how we empower our people economically. Mama Pakwach. Mama Pakwach, I forgot to tell you, I once served as the Minister for Youth and Children in the Kingdom of Bunyoro Kitara when I was still a youth councillor. I think I was around 22 years by then. So that's why you find that the Bunyoro is stuck in me. I will join it with my sister from Kira. It's not about Kienjejo. Kienjejo is not my home. Kienjejo is my home place. I mean, so my workplace. But as I've said, it is Uganda. Wherever we are, it is Uganda. And I'll be very, very humbled to get your call, and we program for me to come to Pakwach. The issue of serving all Ugandans regardless of their status, I would wish if you talk to the people of Kienjojo or Masindi, they will tell you who Julian is exactly. Then the issue of, is it okay for other political parties to join the NRM party? That was from Mama Zombo. Yes, to help push the agenda. They have made it clear. The issue is not overboard. It's an oversight that is in the youth league. But don't worry, this one is going to be corrected in the next elections. Then Margaret, I think I also joined politics when I was in senior 6 vacation, when I became the district female youth councillor for Masindi. I remember they told me that I was young by then. But when I went to council, no one was up to my game. So the issue of age ended up diminishing. And then, men will not give us space. This one, we must know it. We must fight for it. If we keep on thinking that for them they will think about us, they cannot. It's us to think about ourselves and see how we create that space. But the issue of age, you just give them time. I can give you an example. When I went to Kabarole, I was posted to Kabarole as an RDC, and the people of Kabarole said, the president has sent us this young girl to be our RDC. But when I was leaving Kabarole, I asked them, are you still asking the same questions? They said, Nangwa Kik. Showing, meaning that what they expected from me is not what I gave them or what they thought about me. Then I think it was Joyce. What are women leaders doing exactly? I think the issue is many of us, we are not in touch with the local needs. We stay in Kampala or wherever we stay. You find even when you go into campaigns, you're talking things that are not connected with what the local person is going through exactly. Let us get in touch with the local person and understand the local need. We shall be able to represent them well. Yes. Let me summarize. Joyce, I will answer, allow me the last question, I will answer it with Joanne's question. It will be the last to be answered. Naomi, I've answered part of you, but now allow me remind you that your RDC, Chira is under our Kiso. You also have a female RDC who is also our dean. That is the Commissioner Mbabazi Justin, and she's very resourceful. Please make use of her. Shami, I think I've also answered you. These elections were then, that is 2015, not now, and we are going to correct this. As I conclude, as I'm answering the last question for Joanne, members, we also need to understand that yes, for example, we are women, but we have laws that are governing us. We cannot go overboard the law and we think that we are going to be protected because we are women. Why am I saying this? If I tell you the story about my encounter with the Honorable Muriata and Joan in Kasese, it is because they had to look for a female RDC who was in Kasese by then, and it was only me. So the issue of the female had to come in. And then too, I had parked besides the polling station because it was a problematic polling station. My sister Joanne, I knew her because she's an alumni of Piper like me. She came, entered the polling station, went and talked to the presiding officer, got the contact of the presiding officer, came and stood outside. But because they came with the mindset of we must make a scene, because they even came with the news reporters, we must make a scene on this female RDC. So when they came out, of course they knew my vehicle was parked there. They started from the vehicle. I remember the statement that I made to Joanne. I told Joanne, you are a Piper alumni like me. Let us stand on the principles of what Piper has trained us to uphold. That is the statement I made. But it is just because it was, where is this female RDC whom we can easily do what? Squeeze. And they found a grandchild of Kabalega. But what I'm saying is, the issue is, are we working within the law? Joyce, I've never used my position because I know where I'm coming from. I've never used, and I can never do it. I can never use my position to violate the rights of the local people. In fact, I use my position to protect the rights of the local people. I thank you.
I'm going to wrap up very, very fast. Lack of unity as women. Why are we here? To be disunited or united? So I would attach that to training, localizing. It's very good. Then why are we empowered? Let's go back to the grassroots and do the same. Comfortable in the leads. I have here presidents, 3 presidents by the way. That is not a small thing. My sister, Zerida, she's also one of my mentees. My sister here who says, just seen me, I'll tell you what I did. But now I have 3 presidents here into the mainstream party. The president herself, the vice president UID. I have even the secretary UID on the mainstream. The mainstream. There is even Doreen Akwale, mainstream, not into this UI done league. NEC representative in the region. Women, make yourselves visible. When I came here, Margaret came and whispered to me, I wouldn't say that, but because I'm visible, maybe. Make yourselves visible. Be clear on what you want. We're not clear. We don't have the information. We mutate. If I look at the people here, some of who I know have mutated so many parties. Not in bad upgrade. Let us orient. But I'll not mention the names because I'm going very fast. The purpose of women leads. I want to quote those words from Mama Joyce Mpanga. And when you talk about women inclusion, for ladies who are here, it's not about closing the door and sitting in the door. So many people have sat in these spaces, either into the parties or into those elective positions. But she said it is about opening the door for others to enter. Whether you were youth or an older woman like me, open the door wide for others to enter. Social networks. What can we do? We have the Green Party, don't we? Let us do those social networks. How do we mentor these people? How do we continue these conversations? DP has those social networks, the Green Party, where we have the Katis. These young people have done us good. They come and cut you off from home, and then they bring this kachai and you drink it. Let us make these parties very important for us, because we have a problem as political parties. Are those internal mechanisms of recruitment, development, because this is one of the objectives of the Women's League, and retention of members. And when it comes to opposition, it's the worst. Today, I might see her today, and then tomorrow, on 26, I'll find her in some other party. So those things challenge us so much. But when we do social networks, we can go further. Classification, identification. I mean, we are identified as this, and then assert yourselves. Honorable Sarah, let us assert ourselves. And I know you are assertive. You can't fail to get there. And let us teach ourselves to be assertive and be visible. I'm running very fast, very, very fast. I'll miss a few things. Atai, meaningful alliances. Now, DPG is chasing someone with the ball. And when we went for it, people made fun of us. Now, which meaningful alliances are you talking about when you don't want to interact with others? We speak these things nicely here in these conferences. Nicely here, but putting them into practice. When we went for that, now we are calling it marriage, this one, and now this one, and it starts with women. Go to those forums. There is a forum I quit. They made fun of DP. It is in marriage. Do you know what is in that content? Why don't you leave it to the party to discuss and see where we call you upon to come and support us? Come and work with us within this cooperation agreement. I tell you, you'll achieve what you want, because the power is within NRM. It is not within any other party. Chasing each other, whatever. Individual, when you go out there, we still have the individual hangover, individual merit. I stood into those oppositions. And this is why my daughter, my sister, Akina Mama Africa, tells us to call each other sister. I worked with Diana Najego. I don't know where she is now today. You said you are from Jema? She was a youth leader in Jema in 2011. Maybe you came to Ruaga North yesterday. Because when you go to Ruaga North, you cannot mention a name, Maxensia, even when I've been down for 7 years. And you cannot. Please come. Me, I've mentored this. Dina Zedrika here said, Zerida. I'm happy to see her among the few women, the many women we worked with when we were doing this work of interparty, whatever, in 2011. She's the only one I can see. Where is Mama Kamugara? We talk. Lian Kamugara, they retired. But even her is part of my mentee. So please let us talk. There must be something bringing us together. DP has opened the door for you. We are not NRM, but you're with DP working with NRM.
Madam Max, I'm going to cut you short. I'm going to cut you short because time has ended.
Let me thank KIC for giving us this opportunity, for supporting us always. Thank you so much. Thank you, WGN, for the research. Thank you, the fellow panelists. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, everybody who turned up.
I'm sorry, we will not hear from Madame Sarah, or I'll just give her 1 minute. 1 minute. Maggie, 1 minute from Madame Sarah, because it will be very, very unfair.
Why 1 minute?
1 minute from Madame Sarah, and then we close this, because I know we are time bad, but the conversation has been very interesting. Madame Sarah, 1 minute.
Thank you so much. Mine goes to Mama Pakwaj. What have I done? Like in Mukono, we have one political figure who seems like to be thinking for the whole district. When this happened, I went to her and told her, like, for your decision you made, because she paid a lot of money for all her councillors and what, and up to now they are still paying her for what she did for them. But I told her, you've put the district at stake because of one decision you made. We have like maybe the worst counselors ever Mkono has ever got. But because of one person being like the brain of the district, so I've gone to her, that is one. Two, talking about this in the fora like this is also good enough. Three, when I go for any media, when I'm called, I talk to women and say, women, this is your right. Stand for these spaces and you shouldn't be intimidated. Rise up and say, I don't have this money, but I know I am capable. Only that can give you platform to go ahead. Then my sister asked me that, why am I not looking at this as contribution for money for the party, for the elections? This woman is frustrated enough. You have to look for posters, transport, and everything. So if you're asked for like 20 million to be an aspirant for woman MP or any MP position, then you have to cater for yourself for all these other things. I think this is much frustration for women. This is where most of them even drop out. And lastly, my sister talked about the issue of class. It is first like built by the party members. Yes, right away from our parties. For example, I've been in these forums and we are seeing the same people all the time. And there are other women who can come into these spaces. No, what have you done to say, come, today come and go with me. In ANT today we have an aspirant who just showed up to have interest in the women councils. Dorothy, please, can you stand up? Dorothy is here. She has just joined ANT, but we are giving her the space. So this class starts away from the party. Secondly, we should see ourselves as like all of us women created in God's image. If we have values and you're seeing this image in this other woman, there will be no class.
Thank you very much for being a wonderful panel and a wonderful audience. Our discussion ends now and I think we are breaking off for lunch immediately and effectively.